All right, so let me do a little backstory about my travels here in Italy in general, and kind of what my life is like as a traveler, and the backstory behind it all as well. I was tired of Portugal. I had to get out of it. It was bad energy. I wasn't feeling it. So I jumped on a plane to Milan, mainly because it was a cheap flight and because it would put me more in the center of Europe, and I wanted to be in the center of Europe and be able to access multiple countries in Europe relatively easily. And that's what I did. And I found myself traveling around Italy, but not really knowing what I was doing, not knowing my purpose, aside from just seeing Italy. I eventually wound up here in Como, Italy. It's a very specific area in the north of Italy with a very specific history. And it's a history that I had to take a few hours to really uncover and wrap my head around. What exactly is it that I'm standing in and experiencing and seeing? What is Como, Italy, and what's its historical backdrop? I started to uncover the story of Como, Italy, and by God, was it and is it fascinating, because it captures essentially the political backdrop of what Italy was in the not so recent, not so distant past. And that past includes this man named Mussolini and a regime that he created and an ideology called fascism. So Mussolini was this guy, and he was doing this fascism thing. He was a dictator, and the entire population was essentially suffering from the tight grip of control and murderous regime that he had. He had his firm grip on the entire country. Now here's where the part of Como, Lake Como, and this region of Italy comes into play. At the tail end of his dictatorship, and then at the tail end of his regime, and at the end of Mussolini, people came to capture him, and they came to this town. He was located in this small, very small town on Lake Como called Dongo. So the authorities went to, I'm assuming, where the house he was at, or he was hiding, you know, in Dongo. So the authorities come, they find him, and they find him and his mistress, and they capture them. And as soon as they capture them, they bring them out to the fields in the hills, just somewhere around here in the Como area, and they fucking shoot him, and they shoot his mistress, and they execute a few of his cohorts, the people who were part of his regime. And what they did from there was they took the corpses, the bodies of all these people, and they brought them into Milan, and they hung the bodies upside down from their feet, and their bodies were swinging in the air. And they put the bodies in public for everybody to see and everybody to abuse the bodies as they saw fit. The ultimate public shaming.